Hello my loves, what's up? What's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about a new moon manifestation. So excited for this video, especially because I'm someone who really likes to utilize the energy of a new moon because new moons signify new beginnings, new cycles. They bring out the energy of a new beginning and a new cycle, so it can really amplify manifestation energy when you manifest during a new moon. But I do also want to add a little disclaimer. You can manifest any day, every day, whatever day it is that you want. It does not matter upon where the moon is in order to manifest, because we're manifesting constantly anyway. It's a law of the universe. Whatever you are being, whatever you believe to be true is perpetuating your reality. So conscious manifestation at any point, deliberate conscious manifestation is always good. It's just really powerful to do, like maybe like a ritual or something like that on a new moon because of its very powerful amplifying new beginning sort of energy. It can really amplify manifestation. So that's why a lot of people do really enjoy manifesting during a new moon, just because it really boosts that energy. But you don't have to do it on a new moon. But we're going to talk about the power of doing it during a new moon and why that is, how to tell when the new moons are, and what I personally like to do during new moons that can amplify my manifestations a lot. So let's get right into today's video, starting now. All right, so first things first, how do you tell when a new moon is happening? So if you guys know how to pull an astrology chart, you guys can look at when the sun and the moon glyph conjunct in the same sign at the same degree in the same minute, and that is the peak of a new moon. But the new moon energy is whenever the sun and the moon are in the exact same zodiac sign. So whenever the sun and the moon enter the same zodiac sign, that is when the new moon energy begins, and when it leaves the same zodiac sign, that is when the new moon energy sort of ends, in my experience. So looking at when the peak happens, that is the most amplified energy. But if you guys don't want to wait for the exact peak of the new moon, because sometimes it happens at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and sometimes we're just not awake at that time. So you can just manifest, the day before or the day after, or whenever the case may be. The moon usually changes zodiac signs every 2.5 days. So depending at which degree and minute the new moon is happening in, you can either manifest the day before or the day after, or sometimes even 2 days before, or sometimes even 2 days after, just depending on when the exact new moon is happening. It does depend on your location as well, just so you guys know. But yes, usually just either a quick Google of when the new moon is happening in your area, or even looking at an astrology chart if you guys know how to pull one. But yes, if you guys don't know much about astrology, you can actually just Google. Google is your friend in this case. And just so you guys know, full moons are the exact opposite of this. It is when the sun and the moon are at opposing areas, and that's why the moon gets fully illuminated during a full moon, is because the sun is over here and the moon is over here, and the moon gets fully lit by the sun. So that is when they're in opposing zodiac signs, and you guys can look at that on an astrology chart. So that's how you tell when the new moons and full moons are. A full lunar cycle takes 28 days approximately. So we'll have a new moon approximately every 28 days after the last one that we just had, and same with full moons. So they interchange every 2 weeks. We're either gonna have a new moon or a full moon every 2 weeks. So if you guys miss one, that's fine. We have a new one coming soon, so don't even worry about it. Lunar cycles are usually very quick. So one cool thing to look at when the moon is changing signs, when we have new moons in certain zodiac signs, it's really fun to actually look at what zodiac sign it's happening in and what other planetary aspects are happening. So if you guys are a bit knowledgeable in astrology, it's really fun to actually look at what kind of new moon that we're having and what kind of aspects it's making, or if it's void of course. I'm not going to go into the depth of that in this particular video, but just so you guys know, if you guys are a little bit familiar with astrology, it's also really fun to look at that. And it is fun to kind of match your manifestations on the lunar cycles as well. So that can be really fun. So for example, if we're having a new moon in like Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo, doing any big career changes or material changes or manifesting material items or even prosperity during that time is very beneficial, since those signs are the general rulers of our abundance, career, and material world. So using that for that is usually really good. Or if you're trying to manifest love, doing that during a Libra or Taurus new moon, since those are ruled by the planet of Venus. Venus is of course the planet of love and beauty and things like that. So doing anything around that during those new moons can be very beneficial. But again, you don't have to wait for those new moons to happen in order to manifest those things. You do not have to wait for that at all, but it can be pretty fun to look at those particular things that are happening. just to get that bit of amplification on that energy during that time. So next, let's talk about what I like to do during the new moons, because this is the fun part. This is where I get into a bit of a ritual time. I light some candles. I usually keep some selenite around when I'm doing this, because selenite is very connected to the moon. In fact, the ancients used to think that selenite was pieces of the moon that fell onto Earth. So they actually named selenite after the moon goddess Selene, since they believed that selenite was pieces of the moon. So that's actually a really fun thing. But selenite is a very amplifying crystal, and it's a charging crystal. So what I like to do is I like to write affirmations, and that's the first thing that I do. And I'll usually have selenite around while I'm doing this. I'll have my candles lit. I'll make it a really good, fun time. And yes, the most important first step in doing any sort of moon ritual or manifesting ritual is to write down your intentions or your affirmations, or getting clear on what it is that you want to create in your life, or just any changes that you want at all. So I like to take a pen and a paper, or you can write this down in any which way you like. Even if you just write it down on your phone, that's fine if that's all you have. But yes, make a way to write it down and make clear intentions on what you want. This part's really important so that you can get clear and you can get in focus, because your manifestations are a result of the way that you're feeling and the way that you're thinking. And so when we put our attention towards what we do want, that is what we end up growing. So I really like to become clear and sit down and actually write down what it is I'm focusing on, what it is I'm intending for during this period of time. This is the most important first step, so do not skip this step. This is the most important part of it. So yes, get clear, write down what it is that you want to create or manifest. The next steps that I have during a new moon are usually pretty interchangeable depending on how much time I have that day. If I have a lot of time, I'll add in more steps, I'll make it more fun. If I don't have a lot of time, I'll keep it pretty simple, and I'll probably just skip right to meditation. But if I do have time, I absolutely love to do water manifestation. And essentially, I do have a video on this if you guys want to know it in depth. I'll have it linked down below. But you basically charge the water with your manifestations, and water takes on the molecular structure of whatever it is that you're trying to manifest. It actually changes its molecular structure based on the energy that it's around and the energy that it's being charged with. So Dr. Emoto proved this. So I like to charge my water, since water is very connected to the moon. We know the moon can push and pull the tides of the ocean. We know that we're made up of mostly water. We know that people can act a bit loopy and get psychological, like they're affected psychologically by the moon. We know animals and even plants can be affected psychologically by the moon because of the nature of like what they act like during full moons versus new moons versus waxing gibbous moons, like all those different things. It's well documented that we are psychologically affected by the lunar cycles. So what I really like to do is I like to manifest with water. Since we're made up of mostly water, I'll charge my water with my manifestations, and I'll then drink that every single day until I'm fully done all of the water in the bottle, because that signifies to my body to take on this new energetic state, since water gets imprinted and changes that molecular structure based on what it's being charged with. If I charge it with my manifestations and then I'm drinking it, I'm literally putting that charge of those manifestations into my body, and then since my body is mostly water, it takes on those new vibes and those new frequencies. So I really enjoy manifesting this way. So that's one of the things that I'll do. And if I have even more time, I'll do oil and herb manifestation, which is really fun. And so essentially what that is I take a bunch of different dried herbs that signify what it is that I'm trying to manifest. So for example, dill is really good for money or abundance. And you know, roses, dried roses symbolize love or self-love or beauty or things like that. So taking those and putting them into a vial, and then filling that with, you know, maybe a couple crystals that also can amplify that energy. So for example, quartz is really good for amplifying. Rose quartz is really good for love. Aventurine is really good for abundance and prosperity. So putting a few different crystals into the jar as well can be really beneficial and amplify the energy as well. Then I like to top it off with some essential oils, and I'll pick which essential oils manifest match my manifestation as well. Oh my God, I'm going on a tongue twister over here. But yes, I'll put those in the jar as well, whichever ones match my manifestations. And then I'll fill that up with a carrier oil, since usually it's very pungent. Essential oils are very pungent. You don't want to use a lot of them. So I'll fill up the rest of the vial with some sort of carrier oil, which I tend to use like canola oil, vegetable oil, or even olive oil, whatever I have kind of laying around my house. I'll fill up the rest of the jar with that. And then I'll use this vial as sort of like a daily perfume that I'll put on my wrist and rub it in. And this just signifies to myself subconsciously all of those things that I'm trying to manifest. It's gonna smell like your manifestations. It's gonna look like your manifestations, because we're putting in all of those things that symbolically represent what it is that you're trying to manifest. So looking at this every day, putting it on your body every day, will help you get into that emotional state and that mental state. And we know that when you're in that state, that is what boosts your manifestations, my love. And being able to do it during the new moon energy and helping that new moon energy amplify all of that intention that we're doing is so like good, and it just boosts that energy so well. So I like to even charge my water or my oil or even the piece of paper that I wrote on underneath the new moon light. So I'll put it on a window with those different things that I created. If I had time to create them, I'll put that on there, and I'll let that intention and those manifestations that I've created and those things that I've created, I'll let that charge under that new moon energy, right? So then it gets that good amplification of that new beginning, that new, this new state sort of energy. And then after that, I always end off these little rituals with meditation. Meditation, in my opinion, is like the top most powerful way to manifest. And so this really helps you get subconsciously into your mind, into your subconscious mind, and help you rewire and really embody this new self and wire this new mind to think in this new way. Because when you put your awareness into the best version of yourself, or the version of yourself that has what you desire, you are changing your awareness. You're putting it into that new state. And when you're in a new state of awareness, you see new opportunity. New opportunity comes your way. You think differently, you're calibrated differently, you make different decisions, which puts you on a different path, literally. And then you literally are walking towards and taking new steps towards what it is that you do want. Now we're consciously moving in the proper direction. We're in that alignment and that coherence with where we want to be. Therefore, we're going to take new action and new decisions and that are actually in line with that. So we're actually going to be moving towards that. So that's why I really like to do these rituals during the new moon, just because it really amplifies that energy. But again, I like to do this all the time, no matter what anyway. I know some of these manifestation methods might seem like they're redundant, but they probably are. They're just ones that really work for me, so they're ones that I repeat regularly. And if you guys want a really good meditation to use during new moons, I'll have the one that I made linked down below. It is called Shifting Your Realities Meditation. It is so powerful. This is one that I used to do on myself, that I used to walk myself through before I made it like a physical MP3. But I used to walk myself through this meditation all the time, because it's what I found was the most beneficial meditation for manifesting, because you can actually really visualize. It walks you through visualizing your manifestation in depth. And by doing this, you're really embodying that new state of mind and that new state of being. And this is what really helps you manifest lots of good things. I've had tons of amazing feedback on that meditation, so definitely check it out if you guys are interested in it. Yeah, but only if you're interested in it. I'll have it linked down below for you guys, for those of you that want that. But yes, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give it a really big thumbs up for me. Hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!